Ah, you're one of Legrand's men, aren't you?
My name is Anton Jakob Zellner.
You've come just in time. Grace, my dachshund, is missing.
There may be more important matters for me to attend to, Mr.
Director Abbas Mokhtar. And Grace isn't just a common dog. She's a purebred German dachshund, a champion.
So, the exhibition will still open tonight.
But of course, everything has been arranged. The final preparations are almost complete.
But one of the two exhibits won't be there.
A terrible loss, a tragedy. That irreplaceable Egyptian cultural treasure has been stolen for the second time.
The second time?
What? Did you really believe that the eye of the Sphinx was found lying on the banks of the Thames?
Inspector Legrand, Professor Lucien, and Constable Oliver are overseeing the transportation of the safe. They should be here at any moment. I'll have a look around in the meantime.
Do you think that's necessary? The Raven is dead, after all.
If you mean Dr. Gebhardt, his body was never recovered. Nor the stolen eye of the Sphinx, for that matter.
It does us a great honor that the Inspector is concerned about us. But we have everything under control.
Legrand isn't as concerned as he should be. But I am. Is the museum closed?
Yes. Only carefully selected guests may enter the museum during preparations for the gala. And of course, you're one of them, Mr. Constable.
What can you tell me about the museum's security system?
One of the best on the market. And the second eye will still be exhibited in our special treasure chamber, which is extra secure.
Treasure chamber?
See for yourself, to the right of the entrance. The eye is as safe as the British crown jewels.
I think I'll have a look around the museum.
Please do. There's a lot to see. And you'll let me know if you see Grace, won't you? I hope we find her before the great inspector arrives. Isn't it fantastic how he solved the murder on the ship?
Legrand?
Of course. It's in all the newspapers. The murder of the wealthy Baroness von Trebitz, and how the great Inspector Legrand identified the murderer in just one day. It's the stuff legends are made of. You should count yourself lucky to have the chance to learn from him.
What exactly do the newspapers say?
Everything. It's fantastic. Someone on board must have informed the press immediately. Of course, it's a great advertising for us. The reporters will queue up tonight.
And it was reported that Legrand found the murderer.
Of course! Who else?
Well, I wasn't exactly uninvolved.
Of course. Legrand surely has assistants, but honor to he who deserves to be honored, right?
Well then.
Be seeing you, Constable. Grace! Here, Gracie. My sweetheart. Where are you?
Oh, Mr. Inch.
Mr. Inch. There you are. I am so sorry. Baroness von Trebitz was a good-hearted woman. She did so much for the museum.
As you say, sir.
And you? Are you leaving so soon?
I'd like to go back to my hotel. These last days have been such a strain.
First, you sneak into the museum without greeting me, and then you want to leave just as quickly?
I didn't want to disturb you, and we'll have time enough tonight.
Yes, you simply must come tonight. I wanted to present Baroness von Trebitz with a medal. Now you'll have to accept it.
Of course, if you insist, sir.
The Baroness paid for all this. Without her, there wouldn't have been an exhibition or a gala.
She was very generous.
Yes, she was.
If you'll excuse me now. Constable Zellner, I want to thank you again for all you've done. You saved me, you could say.
My pleasure. See you tonight. Miss Miller, I'm glad to see you here.
Oh, Constable Zellner. I heard what happened to you on board. Awful. Truly awful.
All's well that ends well. You are waiting for Professor Lucien?
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow you'll be sailing down the Nile, if I heard correctly.
That's right. I'm sure it will be an amazing experience.
But you don't seem to be very excited.
Oh, but I am. It's very generous of Lady Westmacott to invite me, and especially Matty. He'll learn a lot.
But?
Well, Professor Lucien offered to join us.
Then Matt will learn even more. And I'm sure it won't be unpleasant for you either.
No, I just don't know how Matty would react if Edgar came with us.
I understand. I could test the water to see how he'd feel about it.
Would you do that? Oh, thank you, Constable Zellner.
Were you able to find out why Professor Lucien left the forecastle so suddenly last night?
No, not really. We only had a brief conversation. He was still very nervous.
He was like that on the train as well. Seems to be typical of him.
It must be something to do with the burglary at the museum. It really affected him. But he told me not to worry about anything. He said, soon this would all be over.
Really? How did he mean that?
Oh, I didn't ask him, Constable.
Are there other passengers from the ship here?
Oh, yes, we arrived as a group. David Kreutzer, the violinist, was with us. So were Miss Myers and Mr. Inch. He seems to have gotten over the death of the Baroness pretty quickly. He seems positively relaxed.
I've met him. He looks on the bright side of life, so to speak. Where is Mr. Kreutzer?
He's over in the treasure chamber. Maddie is downstairs in the main hall. I'm afraid I'll hear the sound of something priceless shattering any second.
Matt will be careful, Miss Miller. I'll continue my tour of the museum.
Oh, yes, there's so much to see.
Mr. Kreutzer will provide the background music tonight at the opening. Does he have anything else on his agenda? How are the acoustics, Mr. Kreutzer?
Average. I wouldn't have expected anything else from a big stone cavern.
How does it feel to have been accused of murder and to escape by the skin of your teeth? The whole thing could have had a bad ending for you. You didn't have an alibi. It was your gun.
I must admit that I can imagine better ways to spend my time than being roughed up by Inspector Legrand. Your snooping actually paid off for me this time. Did you ever suspect me?
Of murder? No. I think you're too intelligent to shoot someone with your own gun without arranging an alibi for the time of the crime. It seems like a lot of the passengers from the ship are here this morning.
Nearly all of them. I had a brief conversation with the Baroness's butler. Between you and I, he seems quite happy to be rid of the old battleship.
Mr. Kreutzer.
Young Miss Mayers was here as well. Unfortunately, it seems like she's already disappeared again.
Forget it. She's engaged.
And the old witch with her caretaker and her brat are also here.
What do you have against Lady Westmacott?
The lady is more callous than the Queen of the Night. She chased her own son away. Ice cold. I met him briefly. Flew to America because he couldn't stand her anymore.
Did any of the guests behave suspiciously? Was anyone unusually interested in the treasure chamber or the security system?
I couldn't say. I'm here to check the acoustics and then I'll come back for the gala tonight. I'm not interested in your detective games.
The newspaper this morning is full of reports about the events on board.
I've seen them.
Someone must have informed the press directly from the ship. He probably got a pile of money for the story, don't you think?
And again, they want to ruin my reputation. But no, Constable, it wasn't me. I didn't even consider it. And whoever did it was a bungler.
Why?
The story is in all the papers. You get more money if you sell the dirt to just one paper, as an exclusive.
Who do you think it was?
The young guy, the stowaway?
The captain didn't press charges and let him go this morning. But up until then, he was in the cell the whole time.
Perhaps Miss Mayers. Maybe she wants to become an actress and needs a bit of publicity.
Whoever it was, they wanted to make sure that the story spread, and they weren't after money. So, what were they after? Well, I'm looking forward to the concert.
It will be an unforgettable night.
Impressive, isn't it? Thousands of years old and still beautiful.
That it is. They dug it out of the sand near Thebes over 50 years ago. I was there.
Really?
I met my husband there. He was an assistant on the dig and was ordered by the director of the excavation to take care of that writer. I financed many excavations in the following years, here in Egypt and in the Near East. I visited my husband, together with our son. It was the best time of my life. But a museum is no place for nostalgia. What can I do for you?
You've had a long and successful life, Lady Westmacott.
What's that supposed to mean, Mr. Zellner? That I should be ready to leave the stage? Because I'm not.
Oh, I didn't want...
I'm here because life is here, Constable. Or was. I have never lived as much as I have here. No fame, no money can buy that.
I understand.
I'm sorry, Constable Zellner. Such an outburst isn't fitting for a woman of my age, and an English woman at that. Let's talk about something else.
Your son. You haven't said much about him. Or perhaps you did, just not by name.
You're an attentive listener, Mr. Zellner.
I was wondering why you knew so much about Miss Miller's unhappy marriage.
I stopped paying his bar tabs, stopped paying reporters to hush things up. He got to know her and went with her to America to start a new life. You can change your name easily, but not who you really are. He has my eyes, doesn't he?
The Part 2 novel is for him, isn't it?
If I couldn't provide Matthew with a good father, then at least I can provide him with a good start in life.
When I was working on the ship, I felt like one of the detectives in your novels.
You were lucky. It was an unusual murder. Most murders happen in the heat of the moment or are committed by idiots. They're uninspired. But Gebhardt thought it through. He could have succeeded.
I don't know. He made too many mistakes.
He couldn't have known that the Baroness, almost unconscious from the drugs, would lock her cabin door.
But that was a risk. The plan was too complicated and sloppily executed.
You certainly are a harsh critic, Mr. Zellner.
He could have shot her on the side deck and thrown the weapon into the sea. With no witnesses, no one would have suspected him.
How boring.
Or if it had to be a complicated plan, then he should have worked more carefully. Should have thought of everything, had a plan B in place.
Maybe he didn't have enough time. He had only a few hours to plan and commit the murder.
Still, he should have covered his tracks more carefully. The audio tape, the bloody glove, none of that should have stayed in the medical center. Do you think that Dr. Gebhardt was the Raven?
Was? Do you think he's dead?
The letter sounded like he committed suicide.
There's your answer. Does that sound like the Raven? Being unmasked? Taking the easy way out?
My sentiments exactly. The Raven wouldn't commit murder, get caught, and then jump into the sea.
You don't want everything to be over, do you?
It's my chance to do something great. It can't be over yet.
At least you solved the murder of the Baroness. You're a hero.
That's not how the newspapers see it. Nor I. Something's missing. I can achieve more.
Careful, Constable. He who flies too close to the sun...
Is that the myth of Icarus?
To be honest, no. The story is Greek, and was only written down 1,000 years later. I was counting on the dramatic effect.
Oh, worked well enough. Let's assume that the thief is still out there. Who is he?
If all this were a novel, then it would be the one you least expect.
Is that intended to be a confession, Lady Westmacott?
What do we know about the new Raven?
He's a man who would stop at nothing.
Must it be a man? And how do we know that it's just one person? There could be several people collectively pretending to be the Raven.
So, we don't know anything.
That's not completely true. We know that he or she wants the Eye of the Sphinx, and will probably strike here, assuming he or she hasn't already gone.
It may be the end of the story for me, Lady Westmacott. Inspector Legrand will arrive soon and send me to the hotel. I'll return tonight for the gala, hoping all the while that the Raven does dare to attempt a burglary. Tomorrow morning, I'll have to return to Switzerland. What an unsatisfactory ending that would be.
It wouldn't be a triumphant ending, but it could be worse. At least you'd still be alive, Constable.
Will you attend the gala tonight, Lady Westmacott?
But of course, the antiquities, the delightful atmosphere, and who knows, perhaps there will be another spectacular burglary.
And your cruise?
The ship doesn't leave until tomorrow, and believe me, I'd cancel the cruise for this.
As always, it was an entertaining and enlightening chat, Lady Westmacott.
I'm going to miss our little chats, Constable Zellner. Goodbye.
Ahoy, Matt.
The statue was talking.
The statue was talking?
Yes.
And what did it say?
It said it was...
That's a very bad word.
I know.
And an English one. Don't you think it's odd that an old Egyptian statue speaks English?
Don't you think it's odd that a statue speaks at all?
That would have been my next question. And, is the statue talking to you right now?
Do you think I'm nuts?
No, of course not. I just thought you might have much better ears than me. Ears that can hear statues.
Some cop you are, Mr. Zellner. This is a mystery and you're just making jokes.
You're right. It's just...
Don't you believe me?
We both agree that a stone statue without a mouth or vocal cords cannot speak, right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay, that means you heard something else, and we have to find out what or who it was.
Roger.
I'm almost a bit envious of you. Going up the Nile on a ship, it must be great.
Yeah, I guess.
You don't sound so keen.
I think my mom wants the professor to come too.
And you don't? You can't tell me.
What if Mom marries the professor and doesn't work with the lady anymore? We'd have to move to London, and I'd have to go to a new school.
You like your life as it is, and you don't want to change a thing, right? But have you ever thought about whether your mother is happy? The world doesn't revolve around you, you know. If you're unhappy, you have to do something. Sometimes you have to take a chance. And in that case, you need all the help you can get.
Do you mean Mom isn't happy?
I don't know. What do you think?
This will all be over soon. Then I'll finally have time for you.
We wanted to head back to the hotel.
Certainly. And tonight at the gala, I'll show you around the museum, okay? And have you made up your mind about the cruise?
Well, I don't really know.
Oh, come on, Mom. Who could teach us more about Egypt than the professor?
Then it's settled.
I didn't expect you to say that.
Well, Mom, sometimes you have to take a chance.
Well, who wants ice cream?
Me! Actually, Mr. Zellner still owes me some.
moment. Professor Lucien, your key, please.
Yes. Well,
Come on, Professor.
but you have to realize that...
Thank you.
Finally! But...
Professor?
I wanted to give you this. Well, after the burglary in London, I thought the Eye might not be safe on its way to Egypt. So I secretly took it when I was supposed to place it in the safe in London.
How dare you?
I felt that I should leave the jewel to someone I trusted completely. Myself.
But the jewel was safe. From London to here, no one had an opportunity to steal it.
I beg your pardon, my dear colleague. But if that were true, I wouldn't have had it.
Congratulations, Professor Lucien. You fooled everyone, it seems. The honor is yours.
Well, that's that. Shall I explain the security system to you, Inspector?
The French ambassador summoned me. I have to get in touch with him. The press is besieging the embassy, and I have to answer their questions.
But you absolutely must come tonight. The opening of the exhibition will be the highlight of the year, and you are my special guest.
I will see what I can do. Zellner, will you have a look at the security precautions? We'll see each other tonight.
Of course, but
Wait, Inspector. I'll join you.
Well, here we are. The inspector will answer the reporter's questions for the next few hours. And well,
I won't take up too much of your time. I'll take a look around and then go lie down so that I'm ready for tonight. What's that? A camera?
the latest model. It's called video surveillance.
I've heard about that. The images are recorded and can be viewed again later.
That's right. Images from all 3 cameras are recorded in the guard room.
Wow.
As I've said, we've spared no effort and no expense.
This here, the gate, how does it work?
If the alarm is set off, the metal gate descends. The same thing happens at the windows and the main entrance. The thief is trapped like a rat.
As are we.
Next, I'll show you our guard room, the heart of the whole security system. And after that, I'll have to excuse myself.
Alert the guards. Then call the French embassy. Legrand needs to come. We're being locked out. Here, have a seat and try to calm down.